Alright, so we've got this piece done, but I wanted to show you how I did it. This is a little shorter than I wanted to use. So what I'm going to do now is take the original piece that I had. You can see that I've done the same thing with it. I've made it flexible. You can see there's a good bend in there. Actually, there's a little spot right here I want to take a little bit more off, just to flex that a little bit more. And that will fit very well right around my eyes right here. The next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to take a spot right in about the center. And I'm just going to make a little divot there. Nothing major, just a small divot. And that divot is going to be a place that'll fit on my nose so that it doesn't hurt my nose while I'm wearing this. Doesn't have to be very wide, just has to be a small divot. And that'll kind of give me a spacer as well. So when I put that divot right there on my nose, see, then I can know where my eyes are going to be on this. Okay? The next thing that I want to do is to measure from that divot, and do that I'm going to use the handle of this mower. You can see that from the end of the divot to the handle of the mower goes right up to the blade. So I'm going to do the same thing on this side. Make a mark here. Then I'm going to head and baton that off nice and flat. So now what I have is a piece of wood. Carve this off a little bit just to make it look better. You know, when you're out here in the woods with fashion, you've got to have it look pretty good. And now I'm going to make my nose notch just a little bit deeper. And there we go. Alright, so I've got the makings of some glasses. Now, the next thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to cut some slits for my eyes. You don't want these slits to be very, very wide. The idea is when they're close to your face, all you need is some little slits. So what I'm going to do is, if you put your finger at the corner of your eye, you'll notice that the corner of your eye is right off the bridge of your nose. I'm going to start my slit right here, and I'm just going to cut a slit. And what I'm going to do is to use a V-cut so that I can go through this piece of wood. Now remember, this piece of wood's not very thick anymore, and so it's not going to take very much to cut through there. And I want to keep this line very, very thin, just enough that I can get a hole in here right now, and then we'll move it out after that. Okay, so you can see my knife point is through now. And what I'm going to do is just take my knife, and with a push cut, I'm just going to go ahead and carve that out a little bit to take some of that out. The 6-inch blade is actually a little bit harder to do this with because it's longer, but it'll work just fine. Turn that over, make that push cut. It's a V cut. I'm cutting in at an angle. And I'm going to make that cut in on both sides with a push until I get that little slit. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to do this slit, and I'm going to do the other side, and then we'll be back with you. Alright, now I've made both of my slits, and as I said earlier, I'm using a V-cut, so you'll notice that the outside is not as wide necessarily as the inside. Now what I've done is I've made a stop cut, and I'm just going to open that up a little bit just to give me a little bit more vision room here. Just open it a little bit. Again, you don't want these too wide. You're trying to keep the sun from coming in at you, and so you want these things to be as narrow as you can get them, but still be able to see out of them. So there we go. Got a little slit there, and I guess that these goggles are probably 1/8 of an inch. I would say that opening's about 1/8 of an inch. You don't want it much wider than that. Again, you're trying to keep the snow out but still allow your sight. So there we go. We've got them finished. Now what we're going to do at the end here is we're going to put a hole into this. You want to be careful with this because you've got a very thin piece of wood, and you don't want this wood to split out on you. Just get through there, come through on the other side, and I'm just making a hole with the point of my Mora. Again, you can see this knife is very handy for camp chores like this. Smooth that off a little bit. And there we go, I got a hole in there. So I'm going to do the same thing over here. I'm going to put a hole in here too. If you notch it first, if you make notches, then you could hold your cordage this way. Now you don't have to have cordage, but I like to have my hands free. And so I'm going to put some cordage in here just to give you an idea of how to do this. So there we go. Got a little notch in there. Okay. Now I'm going to get some cordage out, and I'll be right back with you. Okay, now what I'm going to do here is I've taken a piece of paracord. This is a couple feet long, and I've just pushed the ends through my sunglasses. Okay, and now I'm going to try and fit this to my big head. And so what I can do is just pull this cordage, come back behind me, tie a square knot in there, and you can see that pulls the edges in. And there we go. One pair of snow goggles. These will help you because I'm going to try and get a shot through these. It gives you a very, very narrow eye view. So when I'm looking out here, I'm not seeing the brightness that you're seeing through that camera lens. And that's a good way to do. Alright, I'm not sure if you can see me through there, but now you're looking through the snow goggles. So you can see how that cuts down the brightness. Tam, take those goggles away so they can get a full shot there. And there you go. You can see the brightness difference, and that will really help to keep the sun out of your eyes when you're out in the bush. This could help save your eyesight out in the bush. It may look a little funny. I know it's the height of fashion, but you know what? Out there, what helps is what counts. This is David Wendell with Bushcraft on Fire. Hope that you've enjoyed this video on making snow goggles. Join us again for another video soon, and until then, have a great day. And while we're here, let me just share one thing with you. Today is Tam's birthday, February 1st, 2010. So y'all, she's been a real integral part of Bushcraft on Fire. We appreciate her, and she has helped an incredible amount. She runs the cameras, does videos, cooks at the camps. She does all the work that needs to be done out there. Y'all wish her a happy birthday, and I think she said she's 29. So be blessed, have a great day, and thanks for joining us again. Happy birthday, babe. I love you.